A federal court has put a temporary hold on the Food and Drug Administration's order for JUUL to stop selling its e-cigarettes. The FDA had issued the ban over safety concerns about the products as part of a sweeping effort to crack down on the multi-billion-dollar vaping industry and underage users.
These products never should have been allowed to come to market. That really led us to the youth vaping epidemic that we've still been working to get back under control.
Dr. Frita Fisher, triple board certified physician specializing in pediatrics, nephrology, and internal medicine, joins me now. So Dr. Frita, is vaping as potent as smoking cigarettes?
Vaping is quite potent. Now, with cigarettes, Arthel, we know that the smoker inhales tobacco, which has tar and carcinogens, which can cause lung cancer, skin cancer, kidney cancer. When you vape, you're inhaling a vapor. So you're not actually inhaling that tar, but the nicotine is not all that you're inhaling either. Nicotine is very addictive and it's dangerous in teens. And also, there have been benzenes, diacetyl, things that can cause chronic lung disease and even cancer found in some e-cigarettes. So the vaping has not been shown to be safer than cigarettes, especially not in teens.
So what does nicotine do to a set of teenage lungs?
So nicotine can worsen or exacerbate asthma, but it can also affect the brain. It can affect the brain very negatively. It can decrease brain development. It can increase the heart rate, increase blood pressure. It can exacerbate depression and anxiety in children. And the nicotine that you find in e-cigarettes, for some of those pods or some of the actual capsules that hold that e-juice, they have the same amount in one e-juice pod that you'll find in a whole pack of cigarettes. One cigarette typically has 1 milligram of nicotine, but some of these pods, these JUULs, may have up to 36 milligrams. And so it's addictive, there's a lot of nicotine, and it's definitely harmful to teenage and middle school brains.
Wow. So according to a report from the National Institute of Health, take a look at this. Teenage nicotine vaping dropped in 2021 compared to 2020. So in 2020, 16.6% of 8th graders vaped. That dropped to 12.1% in 2021. 10th graders, in 2020, 30.7% of them were vaping compared to 19.5% in 2021. And in 2020, 34.5% of 12th graders were vaping. And in 2021, 26.6% of high school seniors were vaping. So how can a teenager or anyone who is now addicted to vaping kick the habit?
Well, in a lot of cases, they might just have to go cold turkey. And Arthel, I do a lot of speaking to teenagers and to middle schoolers, and I find that when I'm just honest with them, that's what works. Once they realized that initially a lot of the advertising where they had the cool looking teens smoking or vaping or inhaling the vapes, they had the fruit flavors, the minty flavors. Once they realized that these companies were targeting them, the teenagers and the middle schoolers, a lot of them, they don't like to be fooled, and so they just quit. But the best way to kick it is for them to consult with their pediatricians and to understand the harms of nicotine long term and to understand that it's really not meant for them, and it could be something that's a gateway to get them to smoking cigarettes, which we know is a leading cause of preventable death in the United States.
Well, on that note, I want to play some sound from David Morris. He's the Arizona Smoke-Free Business Alliance spokesperson. Let's take a listen.
That's the biggest concern here, is that when these products are removed, that the adult smokers who quit smoking using them, some of them will go back to cigarettes. And unfortunately, it's common knowledge, cigarettes kill almost half of all long-term users.
So any medical advice, Dr. Frita, for those who might just switch to smoking cigarettes?
Well, early on, Arthel, there was data that really was supporting the e-cigarettes and helping adult users to quit. And they showed that the e-cigarettes were actually more effective than other nicotine replacement therapies like gum or patches. But that data is not conclusive because a lot of these adult cigarette smokers become dual users, meaning they're vaping and they're smoking cigarettes. And again, the vaping can also cause them to inhale benzene, which can cause leukemia, diacetyl, which can cause chronic lung disease, formaldehyde, which is associated with cancer. And so the best thing is just to not smoke cigarettes and to not vape because the data is inconclusive and we know that vaping is not benign.
It looks cool, but it certainly doesn't sound like it's so cool. Dr. Frita Fisher, thank you very much as always. And to our viewers now, thank you. As reported by ABC and confirmed by Fox News, JUUL filed an emergency motion earlier Friday seeking the temporary hold while it appeals the sales ban. JUUL argued that what it called extraordinary and unlawful action, that's a quote, by the FDA, would have required JUUL to halt its business immediately. And JUUL added that it submitted a 125,000-page application to the FDA nearly 2 years ago, which included several studies to evaluate the health risks among JUUL users. And the company says the FDA cannot argue there was a, quote, critical and urgent public interest in immediately removing its products from the market when the FDA allowed JUUL to sell e-cigarettes during its review. And we will have more news in a moment.